from the sheep, it has a different way, but mostly 2.5, brother. It doesn't matter whether it's come that way or that way, as far as I know. Wallahu a'lam.
You can pay more if you want, it's okay. Okay, so I think someone raised his hand here. Yeah, the brother, doctor.
So Shaykh Salah, mashallah, is fanatic to this side.
No, over here.
تفضل.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Alaikum salam.
For the rental property, my intention is to just keep a second building for rental. Am I paying zakat on the value of the property or on the rental income?
There is a very, very weak opinion says that you pay for these properties that you are putting for rental. But it's a very, very weak opinion. But the majority of the scholar and the strongest opinion is that you do not pay zakah. As long as it is for rental, not for sale, you do not pay zakah. But you pay zakah if the rental comes from you and you have an account for this rental that you put the money and you do not touch this money. So if it is the year, passed by, then, here you pay zakah on this money. But the rental property, do not pay zakah on it. This is the strongest opinion among the scholars. But you will hear some people say you pay on that, but it's a very, very weak opinion.
So on the income derived from the rent?
Yes, the income of the rent, if you have it in your own possession for a full year without touching it. So, and here is a point, ya ikhwan. Sometimes some people, they earn every month $30,000. That's fine, no zakah on that. As Shaykh Salah mentioned, zakah is due whenever we have two conditions. Number one, when 1 year passes and when they reach a nisab. And a nisab is equal to 85 grams of gold, which is around 5,000 something.
$5,000.
Yeah. So if you have the $5,000 and you have them in your possession for a whole year, then, but here is the point. Some people, many people, they pay their zakah, the zakatul mal, in the month of Ramadan. طيب. The last month I have $10,000. And 2 months before I have $20,000. So some money I have in my possession now, I just had it from the last month. So zakah is not due on it. What shall I do? There are two ways. Whether I pay zakah only on the money that the year passed on, or to pay zakah on whatever I have, and this is better. Why it is better? Because number one, you will release your mind from the stress. Imagine this $10,000, they have zakah on Ramadan. The $20,000, they have zakah on them on Shawwal. $5,000 in Rabi'ul Awal. So it ends up that you pay zakah every month. And this is a headache. And the second reason why do we pay one shot, this is beneficial to the poor. Because you pay more than what you should pay, so for sure this is good for the poor. So whatever you have, specify a Hijri month, like Ramadan, like Dhul Hijjah, whatever you have from the saving, after you deduce the loan, the due loans, not the mortgage, and then pay zakah. I know some of them, zakah is not due on them, but you will release your mind till the next year, which is really good, and release the mind.
So pay in advance, basically.
Yeah.
Is going to consider zakah, but for the following year.
Yes, and now you are releasing yourself. Otherwise, it will end up by paying zakah every month, which is causes a lot of headache. For sure, for the people and the wealthy people, it makes a difference. But for us, it doesn't make a big difference. The brother has a question for almost before Aisha.
Brother Mu'in, did you ask a question or?
Yeah. The inventory, right? So you pay zakah on whatever you have. This is urud al-tijara. We have an opinion that is related and adopted by Sheikh Nasir Din Albani. He does not, or he says that we don't have to pay zakah on urud al-tijara. But the majority of the scholars said that we have to pay zakah on urud al-tijara. So I have a clothing, a warehouse that has shoes, clothes, everything. So again, some of them have, the year, it is due, the zakah due on them. And some of the goods, zakah is not due on them. But again, to release my mind, I specify 1 month in the year, say Ramadan or the Hijjah, whatever I have from the inventories, shoes, clothes, I will see how much, their current cost for them now. How much they cost. If I want to buy them now, how much they cost, and I pay 2.5. This will release the mind, and this, inshallah, will give barakah bi'idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything. Except these things that are not prepared for business. Like if you have desks, if you have shelves, if you have carpet, if you have curtains, these things that, a card that you use it just, to transfer the goods and the items. You do not pay zakah on this. You pay only for the items that you just put them for sale.
But this inventory is not 1 year. I mean, the inventory is moving. So none of the material is, unless something is there, it's been there for 1 year without being sold.
Mahwa, how come, brother, you try to find, yes, as I said in the money, you pay zakah on the items that you put it for 1 year and you didn't sell it. So this is the item that you have to pay zakah on it. But again, it's going to be very hard if you have like 1,000 items and you search in every item. And then this item zakah is due on it after 2 months or 3 months. So this is going to be a lot of headache, except if you have big items that cost a lot of money. But the people who have t-shirts for $2, $3, shoes for $5, $6. So the best thing to get released from the headache is to see how much do you have, the current price for it, and you pay zakah on it. Otherwise, you'll pay zakah a lot every month, because a lot of items and zakah are due on them after Ramadan, for example. So just paying zakah on it, this is going to release you from the headache. But if you want to just take it right, yes, every item, you have it in your possession and you put it for sale for only 1 year and you didn't sell it, then you pay zakah on it. The ones that didn't pass 1 year, you do not pay zakah on it. But how can you arrange this? I think it's hard. It needs someone you pay him every month to do this.
I think what Sheikh is trying to say is these are considered like savings at that time. Like imagine you have, let's say, $100,000 in the bank. So you pay the zakah for 2020, let's say 2021, all right? And you still have the same amount for the next year, then you pay zakah again, right? If you have the same amount for the next year, it's the same amount, it didn't move, right? But you still pay zakat for that as well. Okay.
For savings, it matters. So if somebody has a $2,000 income and they're spending about $2,000 a month, but they're having $100,000, then it makes sense. But if you have an inventory which is $100,000 worth of inventory, you're selling maybe $50,000 worth every month, or even $80,000 every month, but you're replenishing it, right? So you're only having maybe $20,000 that is, moving from month to month.
Right.
So on Ramadan first, it's a big difference. It's 100,000 versus 20,000. Whereas savings doesn't fluctuate that much, unless somebody's earning, as you said, $50,000 every month and spends $50,000 on Ramadan. First of Ramadan, even if they have $50,000, it's not going to be. That's not the usual case. Usual case, people spend much less than what they have saved. Right? So, in terms of inventory, it could be $1 million worth of inventory, but then they're rotating. It might be big items like air conditioners or something like that.
In this case, khalas, make it that way. If you have like items that each one costs like, for example, $20,000, so zakah is not due on them, khalas, that's fine. Delay it till because some people say or think that zakah should be only in Ramadan. No, ya ikhwan. If you have big items and you just bought, an air conditioned, a central air condition that costs $20,000, you just bought it in Sha'ban and you put it in sale, and Ramadan came, and every year you pay your zakah on your items on Ramadan. طب يا أخي, the zakah is not due on that one, you can exclude it. But make sure that before the next Sha'ban, if you didn't sell it, you pay zakah on it. This is for the little items. But for the big items that you can specify and you will not miss the zakah on them, yes, you can delay it. But it needs someone who's aware of that. not someone who's busy, because the problem is والذين يكنزون الذهب والفضة ولا ينفقون في سبيل الله فبشرهم بعذاب أليم. So there is a severe punishment for those who save their money without zakah on it. If you know your items and you can pay zakah on them on time, that's wonderful, brother. This is your right. But I'm saying when you have cheap items and you cannot count everything, so here we say that, in this case, just release yourself. Because, for example, I have $50,000. Just the last month, I have $10,000. So for sure, this $10,000, there is no zakah on them. But I'm afraid that, I will forget. By the time Sha'ban comes, I will forget. Khalas. But there is no zakah on these $10,000 that you just had the last month. Wallahu. Shaykh Salah is the moderator. I can.
No, it's a follow-up question. We can take one more question, inshallah. Then we're a follow-up question. Yeah.
Till this Ramadan. Yes. No. No. So the brother is asking that you count what extra money you have from the last Ramadan and you pay zakah on it. So for example, last Ramadan you have $50,000 and this Ramadan you have 70, so you pay zakah on 20. No, you pay zakah for the whole 70. The scholars mentioned that if you keep money, those coin collectors, if you collect a lot of coins and they reach a nisab, $5,000, you have to pay zakah on them. Yeah, you have 50 and 20, you have 70. Why? Because this money is accessible, which means you can invest this money. You can invest all the money that you have. This money, like the money of al-Waqf, now Masjid Frisco, they have $1 million in their account. And they have it, supposedly.
We have 5 million.
5 million. 5 million. You have $5 million. And you have them for, a full year. Someone comes now.
Should we give zakah on that?
Yeah. Someone will say, pay zakah on it, ya Shaykh Salah. You have to pay $1 million now because this is zakah 2.5.
Okay.
2.5 means what, ya Shaykh Salah? 500, or $250,000
Okay,
now.
we'll give it to first commercial.
Yeah, khalas. So now, no, this money is not accessible because this money is waqf. No zakah on this. But the money that you have, you can invest it, ya akhi. Someone keeping for his son wedding and marriage, or to buy a house, $100,000. And then it is time for zakah. No. This money is not zakatable. Why? Because I'm saving this money to buy a house. I save this money just to marry my son. Still there is zakah on it because you can use and invest this money.
He's saying when you have 50, that's 50.
Yeah.
You have 70 now, only 50 is 1 year old. But that way, then you have to calculate every month. You have to keep on paying every month.
It's still, brother, whatever you have that you didn't touch for 1 year, you have zakah on it. Even if you leave it for 5 years, you have zakah on it still. And add to it whatever profit you have. Type. Type. You pay zakah on it. Type. Yes.
For the following year.
For example, as we said, if you are quite sure that you'll pay zakah the next year, so the last year you have $50,000. You had the $50,000 from the last Ramadan. Till Sha'ban, Allah sent to you $20,000. So now, this $20,000, you have the option to pay zakah on the whole money of Ramadan. Yes, it's not due. Or you just if you keep this 20 till Sha'ban, and you do not make this game that the person have the money till few days before the end of the year and you buy something. No, if you have them in your possession for a full year, then you pay zakah on them on Sha'ban. But if you, for some reason, you spend them before Sha'ban, even 10 days before Sha'ban, for a valid reason, then you do not pay zakah on them.
Okay.
Clear, brother?
You have a question. So,
okay. If here is the point, and I think this is a very strong point, that if you have money that is changeable, this month you have $1 million. The second month, you have zero in your account. The third month, you have $100,000. The fourth month, you have 50. And you go like this, but you do not have money in your possession for 1 year, no zakah on this money.
So
Because
can we?
this is the condition.
Brother Abbas has been here, raising his hand. I'm sorry. We can take one more question because we're not gonna go home. We're gonna sleep. All of us sleep here, inshallah.
Who is eligible, for zakat on the relative side?
Okay.
Also, when you give the zakat, do you tell them, okay, this
Allahu Akbar. A very, very common question. Whenever you give zakat to someone, do you have to tell him? The scholar said, you don't have to tell him, and this is a very common mistake. Imam Ahmed says that you are hurting the person when you tell him,
my zakat.
this is my zakat. You don't have to tell him. Except if he's waiting for your zakah and you tell him, so he would know that this is your zakah. And he asks you frankly, where is your zakah? You can tell him, this is my zakah.
One more
This
question.
is the only point. Type.
Okay.
Who are eligible for the zakah? The ones whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah At-Tawbah. إنما الصدقات والفقراء والمساكين. What is the difference? Al-Fuqara is the one who does not have income. Al-Miskin is the one who has income, but it's not sufficient for him. So someone has a job, but the money is not sufficient for him. He's eligible for zakah. And al-gharimin, wa fi sabilillah, and fi sabilillah is always the point when we have, or while we have always a discussion about fi sabilillah. Is it in jihad, as it happened in the past, or sabilillah can be any source of khair that benefit Muslims? A very, debatable, opinions among scholars. But fi sabilillah, when we live in a non-Muslim land and the money is needed for building masajid, for building schools, for building hospitals, we can use this money, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, fi sabilillah. According to scholars, what type of relatives you pay zakah on them? You pay zakah for the brothers, for the sisters, for the cousins, for the aunts, but not for the father and mother, because you have to spend on them, not for sons and daughters, because you have to spend on them, not for the wife, because you have to spend on her, but the wife can give her zakah to her husband, as the scholars mentioned, because it's not mandatory upon her to spend on the husband, so she can give her zakah on the husband. You can give your zakah to the father and mother and the son in two cases, as the scholars mentioned. When they have debt, when they are under debt and they cannot pay the debt, here some of the scholars, and a very strong opinion, says that you can pay it to the father and the son in this case. And when you have a little amount of zakah, like $200, $300, it's something little. So here in these two cases, the scholars allowed that you give zakah to those whom you have to spend on them, like the father, the mother, the son. And
We can
daughter.
have one last question, inshallah, and then any other question, inshallah, can be offline, myself or the Sheikh. We can try to answer it.
I think I just want to confirm what you said the other day.
Yeah.
Can you pay the zakah monthly?
Yes, so can I pay zakah monthly? Type, can I pay zakah before its time? This is better.
2 years in advance, you can.
This
can
2
pay.
years in advance, this is according to the Shafi'i school, 1 year in advance, it's okay. But if you, as some people do, they pay zakah monthly for the orphans and for the poor people. And then at the end of the year, they will see how much did they pay and how much due on the zakah, and they pay the difference. This is the best way. This is the best way to count. Like every month you pay for the families. And then at the end of the year, you will count how much did you pay and how much zakah due upon you, and you pay the difference. Or if you already paid extra, you can deduce it from the next one, and that's fine, inshallah. Yes, and use it for that's fine, inshallah.
So, the brother asked the question. Okay, خلاص, let's take these two questions, inshallah, and finalize.
Allahu Akbar. So concerning the gold that the sisters have, so we have two types of gold now, or two types of uses of gold. We use it for adornment. Adornment means that you don't have to wear it every day, okay? But the intention shouldn't be that we are waiting for the price of gold to raise up and just sell it. So the one that is used for adornment, even if it's not every day, it's a matter of disagreement among the scholars. And some of the scholars, like the Hanaf school, they says we have to pay zakah on them. But here, we have also the two conditions, as Shaykh Salah mentioned, that we should have them in our possession for 1 year and they reach a nisab. What is a nisab of the gold? 85 grams. Beyond 85 grams, no zakah on it. Okay? Top. If I use zakah,
You want
if I
below-
use gold,
below
just
that,
to know for trading, for business, I just buy it, so I will wait for 2 years till the price gets higher and I pay zakah on it. Again, so in this case, I have to pay zakah.
Sheikh,
have to pay
I
zakah on
heard
it. If
that-
it reaches the
I
nisab,
heard that diamond doesn't have zakah.
no, diamond doesn't have zakah. The white gold doesn't have zakah.
No, what-
Just
you
we
know
are
what you
talking
get your
about
wife now.
the yellow gold is the one that zakah is due on. Except, ya Sheikhna, if these minerals, these diamond, they are for trading. This is another story. But the one that you use, if it reaches 85 grams and you have it for business, you have to be zakah on it. If it is for adornment, it's a matter of disagreement among the scholars. The opinion that I always say to the sisters, if you now start to adopt the opinion that says you pay zakah on it, khalas, forget about the last years. Forget about the last years and follow the opinion, especially the Hanafi school. They say you pay zakah on it. So forget about the old time that you didn't pay zakah and pay zakah from now on it.
Brother Ali, last question, inshallah, and khalas. Bismillah.
طب alhamdulillah, jazakum Allah
Jazakumullah
khair
khair,
wa
barakallah
barakallah
feek.
feekum.
We'll
Forgive
continue,
us, I know
inshallah.
talking about
Barakallah
zakah is a very broad topic, but jazakallah khair, Shaykh Salah, to give me the chance.
Of course.
And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us, and we ask
Ameen,
Allah
ameen.
subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who spend for the sake of Allah. May
Ameen.
Allah purify our income. May Allah bless
Ameen,
our beloved Imam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us rizq halal and keep us away from the haram. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us barakah, Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah accept from our sisters, Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah make Islam and Iman in their offspring till the day of judgment.
Ameen.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our sons and daughters. May Allah make them ambassadors for the deen of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless this community. May Allah keep the harm away from them, Ya Rabbil Alameen.
Ameen. Jazakumullah
Jazakumullah
khair.
khairan wa barakallah fikum.
Jazakallah khair.
Sa'idna bikum, jazakumullah.
Barakallah feek. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, tomorrow after Fajr we have our iftar. It's going to be the last breakfast before Ramadan, inshallah. طيب. Jazakumullah khair. Barakallah feekum. Yeah, of course. Sure.
land that you own or that you own. I don't know. Could be investment, could be.